Welcome everyone, we're so glad you made the choice to watch our show this evening and joining us for another episode of the Your Life Matters Show podcast with your hosts Steve Hodgson and Dr. Eric L. Davis. We ask that you please note that the information presented in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is essential to consult with a qualified healthcare professional for any medical concerns, diagnosis, or treatment. This podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice, and any actions taken based on the information presented are at your own risk. We are so glad you made the choice to watch our show this evening and join us for a brand new episode of the Your Life Matters Show podcast. Let's watch what this evening's podcast is all about.
Behind every smile is a story. Ever wonder what mental health look like in real life? Some people carry their strength quietly. They give without expecting. They feel deeply, even when no one's watching. They don't talk about mental health, but they live it, in the way they cope with loss, in the silence they carry after heartbreak, in the music they play to inspire others. They perform to entertain. They thrive in the spotlight. They create from their soul. This is where mental health lives, not just in therapy rooms, but in kitchens, farms, front porches, and in people like him. In our premiere episode of The Human Mind, One Story at a Time, we sit down with a man whose story might never make headlines, but whose life quietly reflects strength, struggle, generosity, and resilience. A retired, longtime morning show host, a silent radio station owner, a blues musician, a talented man living on a family farm in Indiana, and someone who's opened his doors, his heart, and his table to neighbors in need. No questions asked. This is not a clinical breakdown. This is a real conversation. One that shows how mental health lives in music, in silence, and in the choices we make when no one's watching. The Your Life Matters Show podcast proudly welcomes Mark Gravely to our show, one story at a time, one real voice at a time. Let's listen to Mark Gravely and the Top Hat Blues Review.
1, 2, 3, 4. Give me a ticket for an airplane. Ain't got time to take no fast train. Oh, Lord, the days are gone. I'm coming home. Maybe she wrote me a letter. I don't care how much I gotta spend. Ain't got time to my baby once again. baby wrote me a letter. My 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 baby wrote me a letter.
Well, howdy, and welcome to the Your Life Matters Show podcast. This is the place where we don't talk about mental health from the top down. We listen from the ground up. I'm Steve Hodgson, and I'm joined here by my co-host, psychotherapist, Dr. Eric L. Davis. Dr. Davis, we have a very, very interesting show today that we're going to be doing. Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited.
This is something new. We'll probably pop this in every once in a while, too. So, as Monty Python would say,
and now for something completely different.
We are going to present a new topic we will visit every few weeks on the podcast. We'll call this segment The Human Mind, One Story at a Time, or as we like to call it, Mental Health, One Real Voice at a Time.
In this series, we step away from clinical charts and diagnosis codes and step into the real lives of people who live, breathe, struggle, and overcome, just like you and me. Because behind every calm face, every casual, I'm fine, there's a story, and sometimes those stories are exactly what remind us we're not alone.
And in each episode, we'll invite someone, not for their fame or credentials, but for their humanity. We're going to explore mental health, not through the textbooks or through theory, but through the raw, real stories of everyday people.
Because mental health doesn't belong in the shadows, it lives in the voices of our neighbors, friends, artists, parents, even blues musicians living on quiet farms in Indiana.
Hey guys, I'd like to pause the show a moment and welcome our newest sponsor, Waypost Counseling. Now, Waypost services are available to anyone in the continental United States via teleconferencing. At the Your Life Matters Show podcast, we are proud to have them on board as one of our sponsors. So I ask that you sit back a moment and that you watch this quick video about their services.
Let's be real. Life can feel overwhelming. Sometimes we lose our direction. And in those moments, reaching out for help isn't weakness. It's strength. You know, one of the most powerful things we can do for our mental health is simply to stop and ask for help. Well, look no further. Let me tell you about Waypost Counseling in Indianapolis, Indiana. Waypost was co-founded by husband and wife team Dr. Eric L. Davis and licensed therapist Aaron Davis. They started Waypost Counseling in 2020 because they wanted to create more than just a therapy practice. They wanted a place that truly walks alongside people through life's hardest seasons. And they offer more than just individual therapy. They provide individual therapy and couples therapy, problem gambling disorder, and consulting services as well. They work with adults navigating everything from ADHD to grief, addiction to life transitions. Every journey is different, but our goal is always the same, to help people pause, reflect, and realign with where they want to go. It's actually where their name, Waypost, comes from. A marker on the path, something to help guide your next steps. And for anyone listening who's been thinking, I don't know where to start, this might be the moment. Therapy doesn't have to be intimidating. At Waypost, you'll find honesty, warmth, and a practical approach to real change. They're here to help you find direction and walk with you every step of the way. Whether you are in Indiana or anywhere in the United States, help is just a phone call away. They treat clients in person or using video conferencing directly from your home. If you're ready to start that journey, visit waypostcounseling.com or call Dr. Eric L. Davis at 317-762-0904 or therapist Aaron Davis at 317-659-0179 and take the first step. Waypost Counseling is proudly certified by the Indiana FSSA Division of Mental Health and Addiction and the Indiana Coalition Against Domestic Abuse. That's www.waypostcounseling.com. Your next chapter starts here. You need to make that first call.
And boy, do we have a character today. I joke, but we're about to chat with someone whose life reflects bold strength and quiet service. He's a man of rhythm and resilience. A blues musician who knows that sound can truly heal. He's retired from the business side of radio, but never from life. A caregiver by nature, a quiet figure in his Indiana community, known not just for his music, but for his heart. You see, when others had no heat, he opened his doors. When neighbors didn't have food, he gave it to them. No spotlight, no fanfare, just kindness.
His story's layered, not dramatic, not scripted, but deeply human. Through his words, his choices, and the life he's built on a family farm, we'll discover how mental health is stitched into everyday living through connection, purpose, loss, and even rhythm. He's not a therapist, he's not a doctor, he's just a man who's lived a long life, and in doing so, reveals how deeply mental health is woven into the fabric of everyday humanity.
And boy, when you say long life, yeah, he's been around.
Was
Long.
that
So take a deep breath, settle in, and listen to not just with your ears, but with your heart. Remember again, this is the human mind, one story at a time. Mental health, one real voice at a time. Now, you've already seen one clip of his music at the opening of the show. I'd like to play another brief clip now, and don't worry, by the end of the show, you'll see at least two more.
It's a cozy little joint on the city south side. First class place to party, come along for the ride. Hey, baby, nothing else is gonna do. When it's party time now, down at the Top Hat Blues Review.
So, to everyone watching, please allow me to introduce my old friend and fellow musician, Mark Gravely, to the show. Mark, thank you for joining us on the show and helping us kick off a brand new segment of the show, which we're going to do from time to time. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you guys for having me. This is I've watched and spent a lot of time watching podcasts of various sports natures or music items and have never been on one. So it's like, oh, okay, here we go. Straighten up.
We can't say that anymore. We've been on a lot of them now, and luckily
Yes.
people are enjoying what we're doing, and I think they're going to enjoy this type of show too. So I know we have a lot to talk about tonight, so let's begin with some foundation questions for our audience. Tell us a little about your upbringing, where you were born, what the early days were like. I know it was caveman days, but
It was the actually late 50s. I was born in 55. So, the next birthday I got coming up.
Mhm.
So that's okay. But wouldn't have wanted to done it at a better time, I don't think. I got to see all kinds of stuff. Of course, music, which kind of took over the life a little bit and has just been a wonderful blessing. It's just more fun than I should be allowed to have at this age. And so, but raised on a farm out in the country, a dairy farm, we milked cows. You learned to work real quick. You had chores. And as I went through school, of course, the fateful night when the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan, and I hear a lot of people reference that show, and watching John Lennon play his Rickenbacker guitar was just like, oh, that's what I want to do. Oh, that is too cool. Because growing up in the early 60s, TV, I mean, that was your entertainment other than being outside. And so they had war shows on. I had every war device in plastic known to mankind, helmets and tanks and machine guns. And, I thought, I want to be a soldier. Till I realized that on Combat and the Gallant Men were the shows we watched. the stars of the shows never got killed. It was the new guys they brought in every time. And it's like, I don't think it really works that way. Oh, this is television. This isn't real.
Well, it does when you're under contract. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I thought, no, maybe I don't want to do that. And of course, you have that thing, well, I'll be a farmer like my dad and go through all that. And I remember a fireman was on the list for a short period of time. And then I saw the Beatles and thought, well, that's what I want to do. I know even back then, it's just like, if you could just play guitar in a band, that would be pretty cool. So I kind of started work. It took a long, long time. And now at this age where I have time, I am diligently working at becoming a lot better. And so I have something to do playing guitar scales and things like that. And just keep learning. I think it's always an important thing to do. Keep learning.
It must have been our age, Mark, because I was the same way back. I guess it was 64 when they were on Ed Sullivan, the Beatles. Yep. And I remember watching. Now, Mark is older than I am. No, he's a couple of years older than me. But I was still the same way. I was, 6, 7 years old. And I remember the Beatles on Ed Sullivan.
I was 8.
And I remember saying, yeah, I want to do that. Yeah. That's what I wanted to do. But I went to a military high school. So everything had to be like, well, not as short as this, but, really short hair. But I still remember the moment I got out of high school and let my hair grow, that I went into what they called the Beatle haircut.
Right.
I always wanted that Beatle haircut as a kid. And, it was almost like the bowl and, cut around the front.
I know. And we couldn't have those because I played sports. I was a jock in high school. Mm-hmm. And we had a dress code at the school, a very conservative, tiny little school, 53 in my class. You knew everybody. You had no choice. And so, you can't know you're a basketball player. You can't have long hair. Went through that. We got the dress code finally broken when I got on the student council. Kind of proud of that.
So you took it down from the inside, huh?
Yeah. And, well, they found a loophole around that. Well, unless you're extracurricular activities, you're representing the school. We can still, and by that time, high school was over, and as was my basketball career. And
go ahead. I was going to ask you, Mark, obviously the Beatles are what turned you on to guitar in general, but what led you to the blues specifically? And I mean, I know that the rock and roll came out of the blues, so
it sure did. And it always, we had Cream, Eric Clapton. I remember buying a Cream album. It was one of the very first albums I bought. And I'm thinking Sunshine of Your Love and their hits. And it's a live album where they're just jamming. Just guitar lick after guitar lick. And I would sometimes, when I was like in the 8th grade, maybe freshman year, I had a record player sitting next to the bed with an auxiliary speaker I had wired up. And it was kind of mounted in the headboard of my bed. And if I didn't put that arm down, it would just play over and over and over all night long. And I'd get up the next morning with those guitar licks in my head going, well, I think that's a good thing. And, but we didn't even think of it as blues then. It was rock and roll. It was Cream.
Yeah.
And then about 1980, here comes a character by the name of Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I am playing in bands, in cover bands, playing in bars. And it's like, what are we going to cover? Because music is taking this turn. We had punk. I didn't want anything to do with that. It's like, no, we already did that when we were teenagers. And so it moved on to, you can't cover any of the new Eagle albums because there's 6 or 7 of them. Thank God they found Joe Walsh. And it was, what are we going to cover? And I was in my 1966 International pickup truck that was almost a tractor. And I had an FM converter and had a nice 6x9 speaker. And I hear the guitar licks from Pride and Joy come on the radio. And I'm going, whoa. And I pulled the truck over. I stopped and just listened to it going, that's that Hendrix sounding Strat that I haven't heard in years. And that's blues. And they're playing it on the rock station, which to me was like, voila, okay. And I paid more and more attention to it. And then blues did a nice little resurgence for the 80s up into the 90s. And we found ourselves where we got to play the Slippery Noodle, which in Indianapolis is the premier blues bar.
Did you see any ghosts there?
What's that? No, I've never seen it.
Haunted. I just
They're
wondered.
upstairs. They're upstairs in that place, not there. They're upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been to the basement. Hal, the founder of that, took me to the basement one day and showed me the bullet holes and all the stuff down there. And but I've never seen any ghosts. It's always an interesting spot.
The
And
one time we went to eat there, Jen and I were with two other people who were also paranormal investigators, but they were just down this way. We were hanging out, and the owner came to the table and promised he was going to take us upstairs, after dinner and stuff. We were watching a band, and then something happened that he had to go, and we never got to go upstairs, but he was telling us all the stories. It was in the house upstairs above the bar.
Yeah. The good old Slippery Noodle. And luckily, it's still going.
Mm-hmm.
And so
well, you need to tell him he lives right up that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm in
Indianapolis. It
Indianapolis.
was in May, and you get in line because there's a bunch of bands that want to play there, and it's just like,
Are you booked there? Do you have an upcoming gig anytime
not there
soon?
yet. I'm supposed to get one yet for this year, but it hasn't arrived yet. And
Well, when it does, I'll be there.
Okay, excellent, good.
I'll be
look
there
for you. I will introduce you. I won't tell them that you know Steve Hodson.
Okay, awesome.
Well, I'm better not because they'll all rush the stage wanting to get my autograph.
Well,
But so, Mark, there's no question about the fact that even rock music, it's the blues. Even when you're playing, I know. Come on, even Eric can tell you, and I know I don't need to tell you. If you got a bunch of musicians, like we sat in a room together, the three of us. Okay, he's playing drums, I'm playing bass, you're playing guitar, and we wanted to jam. Let's just jam on 145, a minor.
Yeah.
What we're gonna play? We're gonna play the blues. That's just what's
universal.
Yeah,
it's a universal. We'll be able to do it probably if you have much playing ability at all. I've seen people that can't, and make themselves off as musicians and like it's 145, dude. But more than likely, we'd just have to scrape a bunch of rust off of you, but that would be all right because you would be able to do it because it's 145 and it would be fun and it might actually be pretty good. And that's from knowledge of playing music, and it's a universal thing.
Yeah, it's the only. Really, it's the only universal language. Other than there's nonverbal things, like nonverbal communication. But honestly, it's the only language that I could meet someone from a country I've never even heard of, have no idea what they're saying, and could communicate with them perfectly. It's amazing. Music's awesome.
Yeah, well, and I've been watching. I found a group from Central Africa, and they're and it's on YouTube, and that's what I really enjoy that because I can watch music whatever I want. Mm-hmm. And this group is from Morocco or someplace I don't know, and it is the strangest arrangements of music that I've ever heard, and these guys are on it, and they're in Arab garb, and one guy is a singer, plays left-handed, doesn't use any of the licks that we would use, but they're all together. And it's and they've got hundreds of these folks from the neighborhood there, and they're in the sand. there's no stage. They're just standing on the sand. And I guess it's dry enough they don't get shocked. And it's just like, how unique. This is something, but I understood it once I paid attention enough, kind of what it's doing. It's kind of like jazz too. Sometimes you have to listen to jazz 2 or 3 times before you get it. And sometimes you don't.
And you'd have to listen to it millions of times to maybe hear the same thing twice.
Right. Yeah. There's a player, Mateo Mancuso, who I just saw at the Vogue recently, that is like off the charts on his playing. And it's jazz. And as one of my heroes, Frank Zappa, said, jazz is not dead. It just smells funny. So
that's such a great quote.
Yeah. And but fabulous. And I really enjoy that watching, because there's a bunch of people out there. I hear people complain about today's music, and it's real easy to fix. Don't pay any attention to it. Just go find the good stuff, because it's tons of it out there, whether they're famous or not. Joe Bonamassa, I steal lines from him every chance I get, because he stole them from somebody too. And he plays his videos. He is on the neck. You can see exactly what he's doing. Not that I can do it necessarily, but I can see it. And like, oh, that's the pentatonic scale, which I never used as nearly as much as I should have in the formative years. And now I'm like, okay, you've got something new to play here. Use it. And it expands your playing. And anytime you can do that, pretty cool, I think,
What do you feel like?
I talked about the pentatonic scale about a week ago on the phone while we were talking to each other. And there's a friend of mine who he knows too, a mutual friend, that owned a pizza place in Westport. And he's a country guitarist. And he used to teach an online course, called countryguitar.com. I don't know if he still has it or not, but he used to put up lessons in the pentatonic scale. That's how he played. He learned how to play, was playing in that scale.
It was used a lot in blues, in country. I had never, and not that I was a huge fan of the song Sweet Home Alabama, but I never got what that lead did. And I never really worried about it. But one day I thought, oh, it's in the pentatonic scale. There it was. It was just like, oh, well, you should have learned that a long time ago. But I was never that interested in country music per se. And now there is that's one of the big things. The lines have been totally blurred out musically, I believe, at least in the corporate financial worlds. Record companies, you don't even consider those folks anymore. They've kind of shot themselves in the foot.
No, now they own the digital music.
It's all out there, and all my songs are on YouTube. Did I ever think that would happen? And no, I'm not reaping in vast rewards from it, but that's okay.
Mark, you'll appreciate this. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, man, back I spent all of my younger years, like my early 20s and even early 30s trying to make it in music. I gave it everything I had. And it was like, I blood, sweat, and tears trying to get a record deal. And the joke's on me, because at 48 years old, I'm finally signed to a record label, and it's myself.
Well, but it is.
But seriously, I mean, now it's the whole game has changed. It's so amazing. You can just instantly put anything out there for anyone to access. It's so amazing.
And it could also be a teenage girl that can kind of sing, that has good computer skills, and a nice big 64 channel mixer in her bedroom. There's no production cost. And it goes on to any one of the music platforms. And if it hits, it hits. The thing is, Lonnie Mack, a guy from here in Indiana, who I got to meet several times, and just super nice guy. And he said, well, there's like 8 billion people in the world. All you need is 1 million of them to really like you. Out of that 8 billion, if you can find those people, voila, you're set. And that's the challenge, I suppose, now. And I don't really look at it as oh my gosh, we've got to do something, because no, we don't. We're going to play music and have fun with it. And somebody likes us. Oh, that'd be cool. And that's what you do.
Well, look at with Journey, or Nil, whatever his last name is, begins with a P, was discovered off of YouTube. Just playing in the Philippines.
Talk about some hidden talent. I remember the first time I saw, it was years ago, when he joined Journey or whatever, but I remember seeing him and thinking, oh my God, I can't believe like this guy was just walking around and he could sing like that. It's just, it's amazing.
And as much as I don't like reality shows, and I don't, but America's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent, Susan Boyle, was that not one of the most shocking things? It's like, and here is this frumpy little gal, and she just opens her mouth. And it's like one of probably the real moments on those shows where, because nobody, there, and the janitor from Terre Haute,
right, from Indiana, yes. Mm-hmm.
It's like, and when you looked at the poor guy's like, I hope he just knocks, and he did. And it was like, and I don't know what kind of future that guy's going to have. Is that your front man for a band? I don't know.
Well, the one that took that to extremes was Adam Lambert, who was on that show and became the lead singer for Queen, and still puts out some amazing. I mean, some of it was a little disco-ish when it first came out, and we're rock musicians, so we know how that threw us back a little bit. But you listen to the man's range and his voice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unbelievable voice.
And I'll tell you who's blowing up now, but what I love is when you see an artist stripped down, when it's just an acoustic guitar, them singing, and you can really see the talent shine through. And somebody that I see that with is Youngblood. Are you familiar? He's a guy, Ozzy Osbourne, kind of, I guess, passed the torch to him, and said, you're the next me kind of thing. But that guy, he plays a lot of rock, and it's kind of heavier stuff. So, but when you really hear his voice come out, I mean, he is a beautiful voice, unbelievable.
Yeah.
But one of the sad things, I was just going to say, one of the sad things, but is the pitch control stuff that they have now on
auto tune.
Yeah, the auto tune and stuff. That's ridiculous. I mean, that we, if I pay to come see Mark live, I don't want to hear either music, candid music behind him, or his voice being pitch corrected. I enjoy hearing real live music.
Yeah, well, and I can hear pitch when that kicks in. I can hear it every time. It's like a phase shift, and it's like, okay, they're using auto tune. And I could jump up and down and scream. That's cheating. Probably. Anybody got to pay attention? No, because the vast majority, sometimes with our song list, we're like, oh, you're going way over their heads here. You'd be better off playing Moni Moni. Not that we're going to, but you have to gauge yourself. This weekend we'll be at a little place in Shelbyville, and I have thrown every radio song that still would fit in as blues, and we kind of do a hybrid mix of rock and blues, try to keep it all kind of in a similar vein, and stuff we can play. We're guitar, bass, and a saxophone in the band. Now, these guys are wonderful musicians, and before that, they are wonderful people. And that just makes for it's too good to be true. We
Well,
are the
we've
No
already seen
Drama Band.
two clips already, and there's two more to come. So
Yeah,
I
there's
think our audience is learning that.
well, and we kind of got some blues. Joe Cocker redid the letter. It's probably in there. And
Mhm.
is that a blues song? Well, we do the Joe Cocker version, so and we don't care. That's it's like either we do it good, or if we can't, we drop it. And there's a lot of
I think
creation,
with covers like that, like the letter, as long as the audience recognizes the song,
right?
they'll get into the blues version of it
Yeah, that's what we're
because they
counting.
hear it and now connect with it. And then at that point, you can do what you want with it, as
Right.
long as you don't destroy it,
Right. Yeah.
people
Well,
will get into that. Yeah.
and so that's the biggest blessing. This band, these guys are. We go in to create stuff, never to really copy stuff. The days of being a cover band are like, I don't want to do that anymore. I mean, it's not that we have enough songs that we don't have to play covers, but what are we going to do with it in this context of these four? And it's a creative process, and everybody knows that. And it's like there are really no rules. Keep in pitch and in tune, and create something. And when you create things, I think it's actually very good for you. It's just a thing of accomplishment. Doesn't matter if anybody likes it or not. If the band likes it, it's on the list. Here you go.
So, I mean, you get in front of crowds a lot. I mean, heck, you did the whole career, which you skipped right over when you talked about yourself, really, with the radio career.
Yes.
Yeah, it's sort of like, oh, yeah, forget about the fact that I was on air as a morning host for God knows how many years,
And you guys met Mark Gravely. He's really humble.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
but how has
very
music?
Very good friend of mine in radio said, "Well, it's better than working." And having worked in my life, and I had some factory gigs, did this and that, and was lucky enough to find the right guy who said, "Oh, this guy can do this," and was not afraid of the microphone at all. And next thing you know, I'm part-time, and then I'm full-time in a month or two, and just worked my way right up to jobs I really didn't want. But the news director job was probably the worst part. And I was never, and back then, see, we were doing the hospital report. This was little market radio. We're telling who went in the hospital and who got out. And you had to make sure they didn't get out the hard way. And it's like,
well, that was a whole nother segment.
A whole other segment. But but you did it, and I got a great big pay increase at the time. And it's like, well, I guess we better do this. And I was married and had a mortgage and all that stuff. But the thing, I ended up as a morning host, which means you get up at 4 on the air. That was never really my turf, but I did it. And I learned broadcasting to talk to them and not at them. And that doesn't, the rules are pretty much out on, and radio, I don't know where that's going to end up. I mean, I never, ever turned it on. It's not in my thought, and I'm not alone. So it'll be interesting to see. And I'm really not, I was actually glad after the pandemic to be out of the media. It's like, no, I don't know.
And I personally can attest for Mark, for whatever that's worth. But I spent many mornings with Mark. Okay, on the air, sometimes even sitting next to Mark, sitting across from him, actually doing the morning show with him when Sandy or somebody couldn't be there and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed. Mark knew what he was doing. He had a control over what he was doing without being overbearing with it.
And,
You know,
and
he was
and
that average guy, that average farmer who just happened to have a microphone in front of him.
well, you kind of hit it right on the head there. And
Yeah.
that's the way I talk to them. And Decatur County, where I did a lot of this, big farming community, and they're not getting the corn planted because it's too wet. After a while, that gets serious. And I understood that. I understood those people, I think, and made an awful lot of good friends over there and in Shelby County too. It was a great experience. I got to interview Senator Lugar. Slick, just gave me the best answer in 32 seconds. There's your clip. Thank you, sir. Evan Bayh, that's during the news years, who, of course, was governor here. And so that was pretty cool. And there was tons more that I would never have met. So,
and he enjoyed
these
pretty
experiences.
smart web design on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, and then when I forget about my birthday, I refused to listen to him the day my birthday came because
That's
he
coming
had
up,
this
isn't
thing
it?
written. No, we still got a couple of months, but he had it written
Right,
down
yeah,
on the
but
calendar someplace. Okay,
September
and didn't let it go.
29th.
21st.
September
October
29th.
21st.
21st?
October 21st. October 21st. Yeah.
Okay, well, see,
As I said, we still got a while to go for that one.
We announced that on the air.
Yes, I know they do.
Every
because
day.
I suddenly start getting emails and all that other stuff from people that, he's talking about you again. So
Here's a
Mark,
question.
let me ask you.
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead, Steve.
I was just going to say, with all the music you've done and the radio you've done, how has that helped you process like life's harder moments that you've had to face?
Everything happens for a reason, I believe. We don't get to know what that reason is quite often. So Jim Carrey had a line, I don't know where he got it, but it was, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. So we can't really see the bigger picture most of the time in our everyday, the truck's broke down, the toilet won't flush, whatever it is. And those are just piddly little things. And then you get something real serious. I've lost the pandemic. When that hit Greensburg, it was like, oh my gosh, we've lost 6 people in 2 weeks. What's going on here? Mm-hmm. And some of them were friends of mine. Yeah. And so you've really got to, I'm kind of one of those people that believes you go when you're supposed to go. You can do all these things for your health and this and that, and I'm sure you can cut her short if you're real stupid about it. But I think we're all here for some kind of purpose. We probably won't even know what it is. It might be something we said to somebody, and you want to do it, got to be positive. You don't want to, I kind of think, gosh, I hope, I try never to hurt anybody's feelings. There's no reason for it. Everybody's got an opinion. And I've seen it, and it seems to be getting worse in some ways. But I think our thing maybe is just to kind of try to raise a little bit of consciousness here and there and just do the right thing. There was a Latin teacher, had the 4 principles or 4 agreements: an impeccable word, don't take it personally, don't make assumptions. The middle 2 I have the most trouble with, and do your best. The 4 agreements. And Ruiz, I believe, was the gentleman's name, Ruiz. And it's just like, it sits on my desk, just like the impeccable word. Don't take it personally, and we do that. I do that sometimes. Like, no, don't make assumptions. You don't know what's in that other person's head, really. You might think you do, but or for what reason it's in their head. You have to just. And I saw another thing: do what you can so everybody likes you. Don't let them walk over you or anything, but just be that guy.
Yeah.
And that'll cover a bunch of the stuff I think we're supposed to do here. So, and it, and play some guitar. And I'm up to 7 right now. I don't need it anymore. You can play one at a time, but have fun with this, because this is at 69. It's like, okay, here we go. This is the final chapter. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm retired. And so I've made that hurdle and I'm adjusting to that. And it's like, well, I shouldn't be able to have this much fun. I don't have to. Oh, I don't have to. I think I'll go play guitar. So
what has adjusting to retirement been like for you? Because I know, my parents are retired, and I know that was a big, they had a really hard time adjusting just to that. So what's it been like for you?
Been kind of fun. I'm not complaining. I can work on what, and I guess the main thing is don't sit and do nothing. Don't sit and watch YouTube all the time. You just can't. Of course, back years ago, it was what people watched.
Well, wait a minute. They have to watch the Your Life Matters Show podcast.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, I understand that. And I've got a few others that I do too.
Right.
But the adjustment, and it was at first, it was a little weird. It's like, oh. And as time, it's been about 6 months since I fully bailed out of the radio world, and been pretty good, boys. I'm not complaining. I've lived a totally blessed life compared to a lot of people. No, not everything has gone right, but you just have to look up and go, thank you. And I try to keep that in my head all the time. I have all these wonderful people that I'm associates with, be they in music or not. All these people that I was in radio with for years, and that sparked a whole bunch of friends. I've got 1,000 people on Facebook, and if I get them all at a gig at one time, I'd be setting, I'll tell you. They're my age. I recently went and saw John Anderson at the Brown County Music Center. John Anderson of Yes. They were fabulous. It wasn't even Yes, it was the band Geeks. And those boys were good. And I'm there with these wonderful seats, thanks to Tony, our bass player. And I looked out over the crowd and thought, oh, they're us. It was nice to be at a facility where I was not the oldest person. That was for sure. As we all start making our way out of our seats after the thing is over, and everybody's heading for the bathroom as quickly as possible. And it's like, okay, well, music was sure good. So enjoyed that. And it was to see this collection of baby boomers is really what I would call them. And they were down into their 50s up to their 80s, just this big network and wad of people. And I grew up really liking Yes. And Steve Howe, the guitar player, was an idol. I was like, oh my gosh, how does he play that? And he's getting pretty long in the tooth, but last thing I saw, he was still playing it. And I'm like, wow.
Yes is one of those bands that, I think, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but Owner of a Lonely Heart was probably their big hit, right?
Right.
And I'm just guessing. But what I always thought was amazing was everything that I've heard other than that. It's like they just crushed that song. Their musical, that's a great song, but their musical ability is unbelievable.
Right. They started with Roundabout. roundabout comes out and they played it on AM radio. And I'm going to a ball game, a junior varsity ball game, and I just got my driver's license. Once again, I pulled the car over. Actually, this was before Stevie Ray Vaughan. And I'm going, what on earth is this? And I'm sitting there listening to it, and it's just one movement after another. There's a bit of classical in some of that stuff. And these players, and it's like nothing I'd ever heard. And I thought, well, I don't have to worry about playing that for a long time, because that was something. Harmonies, intricate music. It was, very influential. And I bought numerous, albums, not with the idea of ever trying to copy them or play them, but just listening to the composition and what all went into that. I'm just like, wow. And those are the kind of things. And I can find that stuff on the internet constantly. There's tons of good artists if you know where to look. And not just musically, James McMurtry has some of the coolest stuff. Choctaw Bingo. It is a masterpiece in words. It is a great description of a part of our country, good or bad, but it's funny as all get out. So I like funny songs. That's country artist Brad Paisley. He'll still do a funny song, and I love that. If you can make people laugh, you're always.
Didn't Ray Stevens try that for years?
What's that?
Didn't Ray Stevens try that for years?
Oh yeah, and he made us laugh. Yeah. Oh my gosh, those were good. Yeah. And laughter is a positive thing, and we should apply that as often as we can.
In fact, we just did a show a few weeks ago on laughter and the effects of laughter and why it's so important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
On your immune
let me
system.
ask you about, everything needs it. There's no question about it. Now, obviously, it is a mental health podcast that we do a little bit. So I got one or two questions that are going to get a little serious, and then we'll back off and go back to the music a little bit.
Well,
but so have any of your performances or your music ever helped someone open up emotionally? I mean, it could be either private or public persona and stuff, but has really touched someone and affected them.
Well, I think you hope that maybe something, but I would never know. I've never had it where somebody said, oh my gosh, I've never really had that. And so I don't know. You would hope for that. But if I'm doing a cover song, it's not my words anyway. It'd have to be through the performance that was done. So I don't know. You would hope for that. If you can get to that level where you're actually, and, there have been artists that have done that, and they've written some incredible stuff. And I have never taken the angle or the thought process of helping in that way, I might say. I've noticed here recently, I've got several people that have lost children. And the poor things on Facebook, it's like, I understand your grief, and you're showing it to us on Facebook. And I don't even know what to say to that, because it's just like, how could you, I can't fathom not having any offspring myself. I can't fathom it. It would, I can think that it's got to be awful. It's got to be real awful. And if you could do something, well, I wrote a song called Always Alive. It's on the last CD, and it's kind of, a friend of mine was dying, and she wanted me to play at her funeral. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I don't do that. That's not my, and I wrestled with this for a long time. And finally, I'm sitting at the morning she died. I am sitting at a table with a cup of coffee in my bathrobe and an acoustic guitar going, what in the world am I going to do for this? And I wrote a song. Well, and I got it passed by a couple of pastors. Like, here's a song I'm going to play at a funeral. And they were like, I think that's okay. I think that's fine. And I'm going, thank goodness. And so I did. Family liked it. It's had a couple of different versions. We have a chapel version that's real quiet.
Oh,
And then we have a kind of raucous wake version. And the chorus is, because there ain't no time in heaven. You're just there in the blink of an eye. Keep a smile on your face, a song in your heart. It's something they want us to try.
oh, that's awesome.
And so, and we're talking about bringing it back into the band rotation because, and the guys I have in the band are all very good men. They are just, and I learned a long time ago, don't get in a band with a jerk. There's plenty of them out there. Stay totally away from them. They'll do you nothing but grief and harm.
Well, especially if things start picking up, you're going to have to spend a heck of a lot more time with them.
Yeah, that's a
when
possibility.
It's a band, Yeah.
And
but a lot of them just want drama also.
Yeah.
They really want to just enjoy and play.
We are the no drama band ever. It's a rule. And we leave, everybody's happy. We've accomplished something after a practice. We've written something. We've learned a new song. We've twisted an old song into something new. Those are always fun. And so it's just made, and I went through the days of playing with drama-induced musicians, and it's just like, oh no. And I don't care how good you are. If you're going to bring that to the table, goodbye. Don't think so. Good luck. And
actually, you know what? You know what you just made me think of, Mark? When I was in college, I played in jazz band. So I was in the jazz band, etc.
Yeah.
I remember I showed up late one day, and I was a young cocky kid, basically. Showed up late, kind of flippant, like, oh, sorry, what's the big deal, whatever. And I'll never forget the one of my greatest. I'm even gonna quote him. Harry Miedema is his name. Name's Harry Miedema. He was the music director for the OJs, and he's a phenomenal sax player, awesome musician. But I'll never forget. I showed up late or whatever, to class, and he was always very nice, gentle. But he just looked at me and he said, I want to share something with you I learned a long time ago. I said, yeah, and he goes, when it comes to the gig, people will always hire the mediocre drummer that shows up on time over the amazing drummer that doesn't show up when they're supposed to.
Yep. Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, yeah, I probably needed to hear that. I've always remembered that to this day.
Yep. Well, and those little things are sprinkled throughout our life. I don't know if we always remember them verbatim, but it leaves a mark and you remember that. And once again, everything happens for a reason and it's supposed to. And we get those things. You got to pay attention sometimes, but if you do, and you keep your head right and go in the right direction, it'll be fine. There's nothing really to worry about. I think trying to help people might be one of the big missions in life. I don't know necessarily, you don't really know what to do. You can get involved in different things, and I'm not usually very good at that. But that's kind of one of my points, is just like, well, am I doing enough for, whatever the case may be? And because I'm not doing anything in that category. On the radio, I tried to keep a positive spin on stuff. And, I did that, but now I'm not doing that. So not missing it. I don't think. But it's just part of the turf. And like I said, everything happens for a reason. It doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. If you can see past it and on to what. And I think
If you
life
can,
does guide you that way.
if you can just muster up the last bit of strength and just crawl through the fear. I
Sometimes,
mean,
oh
that's,
yeah,
I agree with everything. I mean, I agree 100% with what you're saying. I think that our outlook on the world, like you were talking about being grateful before. I mean, I think that when we're grateful and when we maintain a positive mindset, life is better. I
yep.
just, you know,
One of the factors I think that we're here on this earth for is to have fun. You're supposed to have fun doing this.
mhm.
And a lot of people forget
Yeah.
how. And they get mired down in various things, and they might think they're having fun. But I think truly, if especially for the folks out there in my category, looking at number 70 here in a few months, it's time to have some fun. Take care of stuff, do what you need to do, but have some fun.
As I
And
always say, I live in a senior community where the average age is about probably 74, 75. And there are so many people that are just going through day in and day out. Yet I have others. I have one guy, my friend Ed, who rides his bicycle like 6, 7 miles a day.
yeah,
Just goes
and
out and he rides around Ocala and different directions and just enjoys himself.
well, and there's the enjoying yourself, keeping himself fit. There's people as they get sick, sometimes illness and problems really can put the hammer on you.
Hmm.
Or you can just say, no, I'm going to go have a podcast and sit here and do what I do. And, it's good as it gets. Do it. If you get one person turned around, you may never even know it. But one person in a bind for whatever, and you get it kind of turned around for them, some little something you said, well, that's all part of it. And it all accumulates. And the same way if you're negative, and it can go the other direction just as well. So don't ever do that.
We say that all the time on the show. If we help just one person each episode,
Yeah.
it's worth what we're
My whole
doing.
thing,
Really.
my whole message would be go have fun,
Mhm.
especially if you're my age because or close to it. You earned it. Go have some fun. Take care of your stuff, but go have some fun.
Now,
Yes.
I usually don't like to go too personal on our guests, but I spoke to you prior to this, so just understand this is a learning tool for other people, as we said here. I know you went through a divorce a number of years ago, but yet you're
Yep.
still friends and care about your ex-wife. It's okay. What did you learn about yourself during the divorce? And don't go into Nancy or anything, but what did you
Now,
actually learn about yourself?
you didn't tell me there'd be hard questions. I don't know. What did I learn about myself? Probably on my end of it, it would have been you could have took care of that a little better. You could have done that a little better. I tried to not go off the edge and be, but that's traumatic time, and most people get to go through it. And kids, make sure you know what you're doing before you go up there and say I do, because you might realize, oops. And
You don't want to be saying, do you have any regrets? I do.
right. And I don't on that whole thing. I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot.
It's
And
part of
it
who
did
you are
the way
today.
it did. What's that?
It's part of who you are today.
Right.
Yeah.
All of it is a cumulative thing that you can't really separate that. And yes, I learned, and that's part of it. And I just wish well, and that's what you got to do with really about everything.
So tell us a little about, um, I know you used to bring people into your home.
Wow.
Some neighbors, some people that were a little
Yes, yes, Mark's
that
homeless
needed a
shelter
place to
right
stay.
here.
Yes, but
Uh,
what do
well,
you think the one thing people don't see when they look at someone who's always been there for them? Okay,
Mm.
in other words, you've gone out of your way helping other people, but what do people not see about those people who's always there? Like you're always there for, I know, especially the one neighbor there that brought into your house there. I mean, it started out what is
well,
it because he didn't have heat? He didn't have heat pellets for his heat one year.
yeah, he that was a very kind of sad situation, and as time went on, I realized totally this guy is his own worst enemy. He always had a better answer for everything. Got pretty old. He was a survivor. Uh, the other guy that was here was just started having strokes. Never took care of his health at all. Started having strokes and like couldn't work. And all of a sudden he was homeless. And I had been friends with him for 40 years. It's like, okay, let's load up the vans because I was here in the house by myself. It wasn't a big deal. And um, so and for a while I had them both here. And I was, came in one morning and they're both in here. One's cooking on the stove. The other's in the bathrobe, smoking a cigarette, drinking coffee, scratching his back on the edge of the door. And I said, are you guys just going to live here for the rest of your lives? And the one guy looks up and with a wise look on his face said, actually, we were pretty sure we could outlive you. I was like,
Wow.
never mind. It was a joke. I knew it was a joke. And it was just like, okay, never mind. Go drink your coffee and watch TV because that's what he did. And
But
eventually,
do you feel it's obvious that you liked, I mean, I just met you, but it's obvious to me that it's important to you that you help the people around you, that you don't want to see anybody suffer. You
no,
want to leave people better than you found them. So if there's
right.
somebody watching right now that maybe they're just, maybe they're kind of in a spot where they want to do more, for their community or for their neighborhood or whatever,
There's
they would
all
like to
kinds
do
of,
more, but they're not sure what to do. What would be your advice?
well, I think everybody has a range of interests. I mean, we're all three musicians. I don't know what there is. I have a good friend who has just taken to teaching kids how to play music, and he has just turned it into a wonderful thing. And he's the nicest guy, he and his wife. He's kind of a young guy, and he teaches, and he's so good with the kids. And it's like, I hope you're making a living doing all this and everything's working out because you're doing a lot. And I think learning to play an instrument is actually very good for you. It does
I agree.
there's some brain stuff going on there that has to work for you to be able to do it. And by practicing and doing that, you are working those neural pathways and they work better. And um, I think it's good, just good for you in general. The thing of accomplishment, and it's a small accomplishment, but to have learned to play a song, to figure out a way to cover that song. We learned "Angry Eyes" by Loggins and Messina, the big version with the sax and the flute solo and the guitar solo and the vocal harmony and all this, and a wicked bass part. And our bass player could play it. And we're going to try this 4-piece. This might be a disaster. And it took us numerous practices to learn it, but we did. And the first time we played it down in Bloomington, we got a standing ovation. And it was like,
Wow.
oh, mission accomplished. That was good. Oh, good job, guys. And it's a stressor too. to remember all that. And every passage in that music starts with the guitar. So guess who has to cover and play those notes just so the next passage of the music can take place. And I'm not a cover guitar player. I do not learn leads note for note ever.
Yeah.
That's their lead. I will play it in that key. I'll probably play something very similar. It may not be, it's not got to be a Joe Bonamassa solo. I'd like it for it to be, but my pick doesn't go that fast. And, but it'll be tasty. That's the whole thing. Make it tasty, play something, do the best you can with it, and go on.
Well, have the more gravely flavor too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Now, before we talk and finish off about the band, I want to watch another clip for us, if we can, of the Top Hat Blues review.
1, 2.
Let's talk about the Top Hat Blues review, if we can. First off, the song we just watched, okay, Grand Boulevard. What's that all about?
Well, some of you are going, that's not blues. And of course, you're right. It is that came about during the pandemic. As I said here in the house, going, well, let's go look at YouTube. Because, and I'm probably still watching a little bit of the news at that time and current events. And I'm going, I don't think this is really quite right. And I saw in our hometowns around here, everybody's business got shut down except them. The big box stores did not get closed down because they would have pitched a terrible fit about it. And they couldn't do it. And all the little guys got shut down.
Yeah.
And I watched as all those little guys faded away. Radio station just barely survived. Hasn't recovered yet.
Yeah.
And so there's stuff that is, and here's one. The day after my 8th birthday, shortly before seeing the Beatles, John Kennedy got killed. And I was back at school that day with kind of the big guy on campus because Mom had brought ice cream and cake the day before on my birthday to the entire class. This had been 25 kids maybe. And then that happened. And I'm like, something's not right here. I'm 8 years old and something just is stuck in my craw going, this isn't right. And you forget about it after a while. And then you realize, oh, there's been others. And then you really look into it. And now with the information or conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it wasn't right. And and it's not even feasible. I want those people held accountable. I mean, people took down the president of this country and that's one of those things I haven't got over. I don't want their name up on anything if they did that. Now,
well, I think, there's a lot that's going on in country. People have been getting away with garbage, for lack of a better
it's
word.
Still going on.
They can use, yeah, exactly, for both sides. And the comment making isn't even one-sided; it's both sides. People are just getting away with. Right. I watched something on YouTube the other night that talked about, it was one of those conspiracy things, but how our lives are controlled, why we can't move past. I started thinking of it earlier in the broadcast when you were talking about, life and what life is like. They said basically they have us. They make us work to pay the bills. And then they keep raising the bills so that we'll work more. And then we work more because we have to pay all the bills. And they got us in the cycle that we're not looking around and enjoying life. We're doing exactly what they want us to do.
The rat race.
Have you ever seen, I just recently saw the clip, and I've seen it many times, and I'm a big fan of George Carlin. And George was discussing the big club. And we're not members of the big club.
Right.
If you remember that one. And
yes. As long as you work away the 7 words you can't say on TV. Because
right, yes. I wouldn't. But I'm afraid it's got a lot of truth to it. And I kept thinking, George, if you keep talking like this, they're going to take you out. Oh, and of course, it was a heart attack. So,
yeah.
But it's like, George, there's people that the big club's not going to like this dude. And I think there is a big club, and gosh knows what it really is, from the Illuminati.
I don't know who the Illuminati, Bilderberg group. I mean, whatever they are, they try to tell us though we're crazy, but there has to be a different explanation for it. I mean, if
In
you
the
look back
pandemic,
years ago, yeah, well, the pandemic, and look, they're talking about another one now with some bug. I was reading this morning about some fly that's causing massive pains, and
oh,
it flares up muscle pain and all this
well,
other stuff that's going on in Japan.
there's flesh-eating bacteria I heard down in Florida.
Yes,
You better
yeah,
be careful.
Oh man.
I don't know. I don't and that's the thing. We watched Walter Cronkite and thought, what's the news? Now, according to what channel you're on, what you're going to hear. And
Yeah.
that's not right. That is not right. And there is no correcting that because, well, it's their opinion. And opinions run
Yeah.
rampant these days. And it's not doing a
yeah.
bit of good for anybody.
No,
And we
and,
certainly aren't fixing anything. I don't think there's been anything fixed in this country in I don't know how long. It just keeps ramping up, agitated, stirred up, and there's people above it, I think, pulling strings to keep it that way. That's where
Mark, I
they
got
work.
two last questions for you, and then we're going to
Okay.
have to wrap up. Okay, the first one: who helps you? I mean, you talked about how you helped others, but who helps you? Who looks out for you besides yourself?
Well, I've got, like I said, band members. I have some very dear friends. And I'm pretty self-reliant, I suppose. I got the honor of getting up on the ladder the other day. 69-year-old people are not supposed to get on ladders. I'm going, okay, what are you going to grab? What are you going to do if this goes south? I was very careful. It was way too high to be, because your sense of balance is like, what happened? I got the job done. You have to be kind of self-reliant to a certain degree. My band, I have very dear friends that I'm in contact with, and and I suppose at some point that's going to become more of a factor. And my worst, I'm not so much scared of death as I am scared of being incapacitated and still alive. Ooh, I don't want to do that. I had a good friend we lost. Steve was a friend of his too. Had a stroke, bad stroke. And I thought, oh, he's not going to be able to, and he just went ahead and died pretty quick. And I was kind of like, thank you. That's what he would have wanted, to lay around in a hospital bed, incapacitated. That would be kind of my own little version of hell, I'm afraid, I think. And I've never done it, so I don't know, but I'm thinking that wouldn't be good. I hate to be crude, but I really don't want anybody wiping my butt. I just don't want it. I don't know.
And my wife went to become a nurse, so
I know. I was married to a
though
nurse.
she did get to enjoy. You realize how really strange life is. I realized that last week I paid $15 to drop my trouser, bend over, and have a woman stick a finger up my butt. Okay, in the sake of doing a proctology exam, while my wife is sitting right there. Okay, watching the whole thing. It's like, what has gone wrong in this world? Okay, they stuck a camera in one side a few years ago in Indiana, and now I have this woman doing this in front of my wife. It's like,
yeah.
Where did life go wrong along the way here? Mark, I want to end up here. If somebody wants to know where you're playing and how to purchase some of your music, how do they go about it?
Well, you can go to the Top Hat Blues Review at CD Baby / Top Hat Blues Review. Look us up there. All the stuff that has been put out on CDs, which aren't even, I got like 600 CDs here, boys. Guess what? They don't have CD players anymore. Oh, well. We've got that. I'm on Facebook. It's under Top Hat Blues Review. I canceled the website when the pandemic hit because, well, we're not going to be playing any place. And so I'm toying with maybe firing that back up. Um, and I've got one of my latest posts had the big list. We've got a few. That's the thing, at this age, it's like, do we want those old guys playing here? We have to find a crowd. I mean, the millennials are almost too young because our music is kind of centered 60s, 70s, a few 80s. We have some new songs too. We even have a country song that isn't really a country song. It's marketed as country. It's a Chris Stapleton song, and I can kind of sing like that without the Southern accent. And it's a nice song, and it sounds like it's right out of the 70s. And they released it, and somebody said, you guys ought to do that. And we did it. We learned it, nothing flat. There's nothing to it. And then we started sprinkling in a saxophone and put another little guitar lead in here and sang it. And it's kind of new. It's like that's one of our themes in the band. This will get them. They won't be expecting this one. And we enjoy that.
Well, there's going to be links in the description, the YouTube descriptions for the CD Baby, for the Top Hat page on Facebook and stuff. So if anyone's looking. So Mark, we really truly want to thank you for joining us today on our show. We wish you continued health, success, a happy early 70th birthday. Happy early 70th birthday. And as they always say, guys, keep on rocking.
Thanks for having me on. I've never done this. I've watched a lot of podcasts, and all of a sudden you came up with this. And I thought, oh, okay. And there's a camera involved, but I don't even look at that. It's just like, no, don't pay attention to that. You're old. It'll be okay. But it has been a fun. This has been a blast. I hope I didn't talk too much.
No, not at all. In fact, you see, this goes contrary to everything you said to me over all the years when you were on WTRE, on the radio show. You said, I have a face that's perfect for radio.
Exactly.
And you can't say that anymore with podcasts.
Nope, I can't.
That face is there now.
Yeah, well, it'll be okay.
But thanks for joining us today, Mark. We truly appreciate it. So much. Thanks for joining us.
Dr. Davis, thank you so much. Nice to meet you, sir.
And yeah, likewise.
India, right?
Yeah, I'm up in Indianapolis.
Well, cool. I'll make sure you get an invite to the next Noodle gig or whatever we're doing. We were at State Fair last week.
Okay.
And, that was fun. And we're at Capone's in downtown Shelbyville, and it's a tiny little place. And the treat there is to see 4 grown men on that little bitty stage. How do they do it? Nobody's falling over yet.
I'll be there. I promise you I will come come check you guys out. And seriously, don't be a stranger.
Okay.
You know how to find me.
Yes.
Yeah, you too.
Regardless of the fact that you know Steve. And
yeah, I know. I'll make you a deal, Mark. I'll forgive you if you forgive me.
Okay. Right. Well, we're set. We're good. All right.
Thank you, guys.
What we heard today wasn't a textbook case study or a clinical breakdown. It was a man's life in full color. The moments of loneliness, the music that healed, the quiet acts of generosity that never made the news, but changed someone's world.
Because remember, mental health isn't always about the moments we label as a crisis. Sometimes it's about how we carry grief without showing it, how we stay strong while others quietly breaking, how we find peace in a melody or purpose in taking care of someone else.
Mark reminded us that help doesn't always come in the form of a prescription. Sometimes it's a warm bed in the middle of winter, or a neighbor who sees your need before you speak it. Sometimes that kind of giving is the very thing that holds his own mind together.
We often say that mental health affects everyone, but we really pause to hear what that actually sounds like in real life.
Today you heard it in a voice lined with experience, resilience, and a little blues.
Again, we want to thank Mark Gravely for showing up, not just here on the mic, but in your community, in your music, and in the way you cared for others. And to you, our listeners, thank you for holding space for one of these stories.
This is just the beginning. One story down and many more to go.
Now, please remember to like, subscribe, and even leave us a comment. We would truly love to hear what you have to say. And remember to visit our website at yourlifematterspodcast.com for more show information.
Because when we share our stories, we share our strength. This is the human mind, one story at a time. Mental health, one real voice at a time.
And never forget you're not alone, and your life matters. God bless you. We hope to see you all for a new episode. But before we go, let's watch just one more clip of Mark Ravenley at the Top Hat Blues Review.
Thank you for joining us for this week's new episode of the Your Life Matters Show podcast. Please be sure to join us again next week for another great episode with your host Steve Hodgson and psychotherapist Dr. Eric L. Davis. Please remember to subscribe to our channel if you have not already done so, and hit the like button if you enjoyed this episode. Your help with this helps us reach a wider audience that may need our help. Remember, no matter where you are in your journey, you are valuable and important. Take time to cherish yourself and those around you. Never forget, your life matters.